This is time now to speak about microeconomic contribution to the change followers' reaction. This time, however, we will speak not of reluctance or resistance, but of a satisfaction of change followers due to the change. So it is exceptional situation. Let us start with assumption that we, change followers or the clients, are more satisfied when we get more products, goods and services. Of course, there is a limit of getting more products. For example, in case of food products, assuming we are buying, we go on shopping, and we spend our money. So then we consume them, and of course there is a limit. First of all, in case of food, there is a limit of our stomachs, So our satisfaction will be decreasing. Then also getting more and more other physical goods or services as well, we may feel fed up after some level, not only because, the products might be old-fashioned, but our physical abilities are over. Sometimes it may take very long time when we are a fan of some goods. It is called 101 chess game phenomenon, when the chess players after 100 games says, okay, stop, now I have enough. It means it takes so much time. But in case of just ordinary consumer, this phenomenon reveals sooner, and it is called decreasing marginal utility or satisfaction. Marginal means we increase consumption by 1%, by 1 unit, whatever, and we feel that our satisfaction is less. So in short term, we are more satisfied, but in longer term, we stop to be satisfied so much. So now let's imagine the situation when we buy 2 products and we get the budget so-and-so money. There is a model showing the relationship of the satisfaction of the client who consumes 2 products. We may find the combination of different proportions of 2 products, X and Y, for example, giving the same satisfaction. For example, we increase consuming of X, but decrease consuming of Y, and the satisfaction is the same. It's illustrated by the curve called indifference or neutrality curve. Every point of this curve, shows the same satisfaction. But we remember that we are more satisfied when we get more goods in short term. So we may imagine that there is a number of curves. Positions are changed towards, say, right up or east-north direction. And there is a number of curves, but every curve represents overall higher satisfaction. But this is satisfaction in our dreams. Unfortunately, you might think of reality. So we should have enough money to get so many goods to be satisfied more and more. But we have only the limited amount of money. For example, 100 euros, say. When we know the prices of X and Y, when we spend our money only on X, we may get extreme point on the X-axis and 0 Y. Then when we spend all money on Y products, we get extreme point on the Y-axis and 0 for X. When we link these 2 extreme points, we get the budget constraint or limitation line, which shows endless amount of X and Y combination, assuming we spend our budget. And then there is another graph showing the touch point between the constraint, budget constraint, and our indifference line. We may see that the touch point represents the optimum satisfaction of the client who spends his money and buys so-and-so X and Y. So the very touch point gives the biggest satisfaction. But then, we are the seller now, or producer, we want to catch our client, to attract, to win the competition. So we should think of how to touch the higher indifference curve. How we may do this? Of course, budget is the same, but we may reduce prices in order to allow the client to buy more product. We may reduce the price of X, we may produce the price of Y, or both products price. And this way, we may get the touch point with higher indifference line, and to make the change maker, due to the change of prices, more satisfied. How we can get the curve? By questionnaires. This is the research. And bigger sample, of course, better.